Hi everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today I'm going to be giving you an overall guide to Wargaming's Steel Hunter Reborn game mode and whether it's actually worth playing. So firstly, what is Steel Hunter Reborn? Steel Hunter Reborn is your opportunity to play against 15 other players if you're playing solo, or 20 players in 2 sets of 2 players if you're playing in a platoon. The biggest change of Steel Hunter Reborn is that there are now bots inside the game as well. So if you're a very casual player, or maybe you're just somebody who wants to min-max, that's an opportunity for you to farm an AI at the start of the battle to level up. Now, what a lot of people found tricky in Steel Hunter previously was the fact that the battles at the beginning maybe never allowed the casual players to level up. So now that Wargaming has added random bots in, it adds a lot of RNG at the beginning of the battle, which I think is a little lame. Personally, for me, I don't think there need to be bots, and I don't really feel like they have too much of an impact in the battle, apart from when you spawn near one, or if you manage to catch one later on if you're playing one of the faster vehicles. And it's really just like free experience for players who just get lucky in one of the games of Steel Hunter Reborn. The other thing that happens in this game is if you look on the right-hand side of your screen, there's a new indicator of when the airdrop is going to happen. And then there's also an indicator here which says for how long, for 5 minutes at the start of the battle, that you can respawn once. And you have a respawn marker here towards the where the 7 key would be. It's not an ability that you use, it's something that automatically happens, and it automatically respawns you in the battle. And so for everyone who thought it was frustrating that you got knocked out of Steel Hunter, you've got an opportunity to respawn. Now, this is kind of copying the other Battle Royale games. If you know, Warzone has like a prison system where you go in and you win the gulag, right? And then you get to respawn in the battle. In World of Tanks, you don't have to win inside the gulag. All you have to do is just die, and then that allows you to respawn. And I think what Wargaming are thinking that this will do is it will encourage people to play aggressively at the beginning, or maybe reduce the risk in the first 5 minutes of actually playing aggressively. But really, what it does is it just means that everybody gets to level up more, because you respawn, you then go collect some more objectives, and everyone's got a free life at the beginning. It means there's more experience to be able to go into the game as well. And so what you find is that everyone just levels up so much quicker inside Steel Hunter Reborn. And it's not a case of you see a lot of people who are driving around later on in the battle on very low levels, which actually makes it, I believe, a bit harder, I'd say, for the casual players later on in the game. Of course, they're going to be able to level up, but it also means they're never going to have one of those truly fantastic, super lucky battles where they're going to just have a complete overmatch against another casual player. And for example, you see in this game, in literally the first 3 minutes, I've actually managed to get up to level 6 purely by getting lucky and getting a bot at the start of the battle, and then being able to pick up a couple of kills, albeit with some okay plays against those Valkyrs. So that's everything that's new. Oh, actually, there's one huge new feature as well. Notice my 1 key is actually AP now, and it's not heat. All of the vehicles now, heat is pretty much completely gone. Also, a passing mention should be made is that even though we're over 3 minutes into the battle now, nice stun here on the Valkyr is going to give me a great opportunity to get their side and dump in my regular rounds. Notice how 15 players are surviving. So even though we've taken out 2 players, they haven't been subsequently killed by another player, and that is the first player who actually goes out in an Harlequin there. So keep that in mind, that even though you're picking up kills and you're leveling up your vehicle, you're not actually removing tankers from the game. I guess you're stopping them from being able to farm and stopping them from being able to go and pick up objectives, but it's taken 4 minutes now before we've seen the second player die for the second time. And so, just quickly as well, back to it, all of the heat rounds off the 1 key are gone. So that makes a huge difference. Previously, one of the biggest skills in Steel Hunter was actually aiming well, not hitting your enemy's space protection, and trying to hit flat armor with heat rounds on the 1 key. That would allow you to do more damage. Now they've been replaced with armor piercing rounds, which of course are going to have maybe a little bit of shell drop off, but most Steel Hunter fights are all in close quarters combat. And that means that you don't have to aim so well with the armor-piercing rounds. And frankly, auto-aiming with AP rather than heat is just so much easier. I'm not saying you should auto-aim, I'm just saying that that is definitely one of the biggest changes for me. as a veteran. And that's something that only you would pick up if you were quite experienced with those fights, especially in Harbingers and needing to aim accurately at your opponents. Okay, so now we have created a monster. I have managed to reach tier 7 with the EBR. Well, not the EBR, the AMX. And you'll very quickly see that the Harlequin is now an absolute boss. Look at the top of the screen, it says that the respawns are no longer available. We must be 5 minutes into the battle. And I am max rank here, finishing off that Raven as if it was nothing, and now we get to turn our attention to this Varyag. I'm going to drop my airstrike here. It's all about abilities, and oh dear, this guy hasn't even managed to upgrade his hull yet, and he's getting farmed by a tier 7 Frenchie. That's 1,100 damage in his side. And we're going to just keep running rings around this player as he didn't use his med kit. He's going to drop mines on me here, but I'm going to use my med kit to be able to heal those mines. I accidentally fumbled my 4 key there as well. That was a bit of a misplay. I shouldn't have used the heal in that scenario, but so far so good, right? We destroyed 5 tanks in sub 6 minutes and up to 8,000 damage. We're on the warpath. Okay. So, Steel Hunter, what are my top tips? Alright, well, once you get confident in this game mode, it is all about aggression. You want to go very, very aggressively against your opponents as often as you can, if you feel confident that you're going to be able to win those 1v1 fights. And the reason for that is that if you win the 1v1 fights early on in the battle, you never get behind yourself, behind your opponents, and you'll always be one of, if not the strongest tanks on the battlefield. However, you don't want to be overconfident. Just because I've managed to dump in 6... Oh, I've dumped 6 opponents here. I'm now going to meet my match. This is a fully upgraded Hurricane, who's probably also been having a really good game as well. And uh-oh, I am not having a very good round here. And oh dear, am I going to get caught here? Hopefully that's going to stun the Hurricane. It just manages to stun him right on the cusp of it. I've got no med kit. And I'm like, oh dear, the first person who's actually fully upgraded and must have been farming a load of other puppies as well. Okay, well, let's run away so we can live to fight another day in this situation. And sometimes when you're playing in the Harlequin, this is your best bet. Don't just get caught. You can go away, get some heals. Another thing I should mention is that the cooldown on the heal seems to be a lot less, but the amount that it does is also a lot less. So Wargaming have made it so you heal more often in Steel Hunter, but each heal is less significant. That's kind of good in a way for the faster tanks, because they can just keep smashing in those heals. But I guess it kind of limits the vehicles with the autoloaders, which would usually go in, dump out a mag, and then fall out of your opponent's line of fire, heal, and then proceed to go back in and dump another mag. So I feel like autoloaders are definitely suffering a little bit. And this is why we ran away. We ran away from this Hurricane so we could find a more advantageous scenario. I'm going to use my 5 key to try... No, I'm going to use my 6 key to drop in a little ball of death that's going to follow this Hurricane around and hopefully deal an extra 500 damage, or at least force him to shoot it instead. And that's going to hopefully distract him enough for us to be able to get some shots. And, oh, we've got an Harlequin behind us. Trying to see if I can get a stun here. That Harlequin I thought was actually going to end me here. I'm not sure if the ball is going to catch the Hurricane. It does, but I'm actually going to have to run from this little Harlequin. And that Harlequin seems to be actually using an auto-loading HE gun, not using the armor-piercing gun like I'm using. And there's a different upgrade path, as you can see here, that you can go to. And I guess, yeah, he's got 3 shells in the magazine, and they've also reached top level with 127mm HE. Luckily, he's firing the premium rounds that while they do 400 and have better pen, he could have probably penned the 60mm of pen 700 alpha damage shells there. And oh my gosh, I'm having to fight for everything that I've got right now, as there's 4 players left, and a Valkyr manages to put a shot in from the side there. And now we're going to be able to go and hopefully get another heal off, and just try and recover once again to hopefully manage to pick off another frag on one of our opponents. So yeah, my biggest tip for Steel Hunter is that you're never going to be successful inside this game mode unless you learn to play aggressively and learn to duel, and you learn to win those 1v1 fights, and you play aggressively at the start of the battle so you can always be on top. However, if you are a casual player and your goal is just to complete the daily missions that Wargaming want you to do, maybe you want to play a little bit more defensively. Just try and survive for as long as you possibly can. But now that there's respawns inside the game, I really don't think that you're going to just be able to get one of those lucky rounds where you finish in the top 8, which is what your goal has to be 3 times per day to be able to do Wargaming's missions, to be able to progress through their like mini battle pass or Steel Hunter pass, Steel Hunter progression system. Oh wow, look at these 2 Valkyrs going at it. It would be an awful shame if a sneaky Frenchman was able to sneak up behind you, right? That's 900 damage to 1, finishing off that one. I'm going to drop my my airstrike, which finishes off another vehicle, and I'm going to drop my bomb in here, which is going to come behind this Harlequin, and because I picked up the heal, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to specifically tank his fireball here, so that then I can just drop back into the heal, get that off. He's going to run away because he's panicky, and just like that, I'm full health, he's not full health, and now what I need to do is I need to hound down this Harlequin. But they've taken less mobility than me. Excuse me. So they've actually got more hit points but less mobility. So I should be able to catch them and dictate the pace of the combat as my hull is lighter. So I managed to land a good airstrike in there. Oh, actually, so I think he airstrikes himself because my airstrike wasn't happening. And I'm trying to find the airstrike here, but I'm also worried about getting inside the death zone there. That's definitely something you don't want to go in. And I'm hoping that I should be able to finish him off here with auto-aiming, but then I realize auto-aiming is for amateurs, and I leave this guy on 34 hit points. But maybe we can predict where he is with a Hail Mary airstrike, and I have to admit that was a pretty cool finish to predict where he would run there. Shutting him down, picking up 9 frags inside this battle, and nearly 16,000 damage in some edge of the seat Harlequin gameplay. So as with all fun modes, or more serious modes like this one inside World of Tanks, there are usually some substantial rewards that you can be able to get your hands on. And now I'm gonna give you an idea of whether they're actually worth playing. So you're going to have to grind through 12 different stages in the 14 days that Steel Hunter is available. Now, if you do each of your 3 daily missions, you will complete 1.5 stages, which means that you're going to have to complete all of your daily missions on 8 different days of the 14 days, including yesterday, so you've only got 13 days left if you're watching this video as it's released, to be able to get all of the rewards. So, you know, you're getting about, I don't know, 750 bonds, you're getting some directives, like a few little boosters. The retraining orders are really nice, especially if you're a free-to-play player, because those will allow you to reset as if you'd spent gold. And the final reward is 700,000 credits and a book that's worth 2 million credits. So, again, the rewards aren't that fantastic. So unless you feel like you're a good Steel Hunter player, I honestly wouldn't even recommend it. Because while this will take somebody like me about half an hour to an hour, depending on how well my games go, because I can consistently finish in the top 8 when I'm playing solo, for a lot of players, this might take you 6 to 10 games of Steel Hunter, which is going to take you many hours every day. For those players, I thoroughly wouldn't recommend this game mode. And I want to come to my final conclusion. With Steel Hunter, Wargaming are trying so hard to make this a good game mode inside their game. And while it's okay, I just feel that every time that they change it, they're trying to please too many people. This season, they've tried to make it more fun for the casual players with adding bots and with adding the respawns, but all that they've really done is just made it so that everybody levels up really quickly, which I think actually will then favor the skilled players who can make use of more of the abilities and more of the aspects of their tank. Furthermore, considering that the rewards, they're okay, but they're not really that good for Steel Hunter, and the fact that you have to play 8 out of 14 days with way worse rewards than the Mars game mode, and the fact that you have to finish in the top 8, which is not the easiest thing to do for a casual player, and no way to be able to grind your progress because all of the progress is gated behind these daily missions, and if you play beyond having done the daily missions, you're not getting anything extra apart from these steel seals to spend on some cosmetics, which is compounded by the fact that even if you win, I think you're only getting like 8 Battle Pass points, which is horrendous for Steel Hunter, and the amount of time that you have to invest into it. So all in all, Wargaming have tried, and they keep investing development time in Steel Hunter. I personally think the game mode is getting worse. I liked the raw Battle Royale vibe of that kind of adrenaline that you have with the early fights inside the battle. The respawns take away from that edge, and the addition of bots just adds RNG to the game. So for me, I think Wargaming, even though they've invested a lot inside Steel Hunter, I just don't think this is going to be all that popular with the community, and I just feel as if they're constantly trying to invest development in a game mode that just really isn't going to take off inside World of Tanks. But maybe I'm wrong. And if I am and you think this is the most fun you've ever had in World of Tanks, please do let me know in the comments down below. Anyway, ladies and gents, boys and girls, that was it for today. Really hope you enjoyed this video. Maybe it was just useful for you to get an idea of the event or some tips in Steel Hunter. If it was, give the video a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. And yeah, let me know in the comments down below what you think about Steel Hunter Reborn. Do you think it's the best version of Steel Hunter yet? Or do you think the more that Wargaming try to polish out Steel Hunter, the worse it gets? And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.